Streets and Scholars, Alex Alonso here with FG, bringing you guys another banger. What it do? What it do, FG? What it
Yeah,
do?
what's going on with you, Alex? How your day going?
Oh, everything's cool. Everything's cool.
That's what's up.
Yeah, let's start off with I think I made a mistake a couple episodes ago when we spoke about Praz from the Fugees.
Hmm.
I think after he was found guilty of all that money embezzlement and other nefarious activities he was doing with the millions of dollars, I said he was taken into custody, but he was just seen. He was just seen at a Lauryn Hill concert, at a Roots event on stage, either just a couple days ago. So if he was just found guilty in the feds, FG, how is Praz still able to be free right now?
Well, they trusted him with, pre-trial. He probably got assets put up, for his bond. Um, they probably not worried about him running, so they probably gave him the opportunity to go tie up some loose ends. He could have said he had some business dealings he had to tie up. He didn't expect it to get found guilty. So, he probably gave him a date for sentences and let him come stay out there till he gets sentenced. So I'm sure that's what happened on his end.
Now that's probably is it common, not too common? I mean, if anybody from, let's say, the streets of LA is on a federal trial and they get found guilty, what's the chances as they say, all right, puppet, come back in a couple months to turn yourself in for this 20-year sentence?
Well, it's slim and none, when you talking about an average person, but when you talk about people who have millions of dollars in assets, and things of that nature, they tend to trust him a little more, then not to mention he doesn't have how can I put it? He got a financial crime, so therefore, they probably just not so worried about him as it was if it was a drug crime or, you know, um, bodily injury crime, but like I say, when you got the millions of dollars to back them assets, man, they'll let you hang out there for a minute. But, you know, um, when it comes to a regular street dude, we usually don't have those kind of assets to put up to do it like that. And once we get found guilty, they take us into custody. So he getting some special privileges, but like I say, man, he probably got the funds to, prove that he, not gonna run on them.
Yeah, I guess he's considered not a flight risk, and he should be turning himself in real soon. I don't have a sentencing date. I want to guess somewhere in August he's supposed to be sentenced. But hey, last episode we spoke about Big Y, man. I gotta say he's a legendary hip hop icon from out of the eye. And it's been a week. I guess it's been about a week, man. Have you spoke to anybody? Spoke to any of the homies? Had any conversations about the recent passing of Big Y?
You know what I haven't? I mean, not outside of, everybody, the West Coast, LA, Inglewood, Compton wise, mourning, over the loss of the homie. He been a staple in the community and, in the Damu car for years. So, he's represented the red team, and did it the right way, so outside of the homies being, mourning the loss, I haven't heard like, no extra details, man, but it definitely was a loss on our end, man, and Big Y definitely was a staple on the West Coast,
Yeah, and you said you were just bumping some of the relatives the other day.
No doubt. You know what I mean? They had really had some hits, man. I was even asking my son, had he heard it? He was like, no. But when I got put on the song, oh yeah, I heard that song. So a lot of times people don't know they know the song and don't know the artist, when it comes to these young cats, but anybody, of age that been around, you done heard of the relatives, man. They was putting it down, so but yeah, man, you hate to see Big Y go, man, but at the same time, we got a lot of homies out there, a lot of family members, that struggle with being a diabetic or, certain illnesses and diseases, man. And we just gotta try to, keep our health straight, Alex. I'm really believing, like I say, health is wealth at this moment, and we way past middle age, man. So we gotta start taking care of ourselves a little better.
Yeah, man. I was just checking out this. I was on Big Y's YouTube channel the other day, and he actually went public with some of his health ailments at about 6 years ago, and I want to play a couple minutes. I want to play this clip of Big Y actually just speaking on what he was going through health wise. So take a listen to this.
Growing up, all I wanted to do was rap. Where I'm from, outside was a whole lot of bullshit. And I dove knee deep straight in it. You know?
Oops.
Was. Then I tried to figure out a way. Alright, let me use this bullshit I'm wrapped up in to try to get done what I need to do. And I spit these motherfucking rhymes. You know, it worked out for the most part. A lot of dreams started coming true. Me and my homeboys doing our thing. You know, shit, that shit was a blessing. A real blessing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. A lot of new things going on, money, having it your way. Then real big success kicked in. Once again, somewhere along the way doing all of that, I lost it. Lost control of myself. Started letting my health get the worst of me. Now look where I'm at. Having a little money and success made me lazy. It made my health take a turn for the worse. I was diagnosed with diabetes. Finding out I had diabetes that shit was some of the worst news. You know. I mean, I watched my family and people live with it for a while, you know what I mean? And, you know how to handle it, you know what I mean? But it was new to me and it worried me, you know what I mean? But not only to deal with that, now I had to stick myself with needles every day. And, you know, I mean, it's a struggle, man. I mean, I end up with blood clots. And somehow they travel to my lungs. And that almost cost me my life.
Pulmonary embolism is basically a blood clot that can start off in your...
I think this is a real interesting clip because it really kind of highlights not just Big Y, but a whole lot of us be ignoring our health, FG, and we just be eating anything. We don't really be paying attention to what our body needs. Sometimes we ignore the signs when our body is telling us something. We kind of ignore it, especially as men.
Right.
Have you ever been through any sort of crisis like that health-wise with yourself?
You know what, Alex? I haven't. You know what I mean? I've been having a bullet in my lung, though, since 1993. I've always worried about it. Always worried that if, it ever moved, things of that nature. But I never had no real health issues, fortunately, I've been pretty good health. But, I also, when I started getting up into my 30s, I did start checking my health better. I started getting my blood work done, start, looking at my cholesterol, my glucose levels, my sugars, my, getting all the necessary procedures done in order to see if I was on the path to, and I've been fortunate, but I have had family members, friends, just lost a cousin recently, diabetic complications, and a lot of homies don't want to take the medication, Alex, because it messes with your erectile situation. You know what I mean? So they don't want to take the medicine. You know what I mean? And I get it. But at the same time, sometimes you got to make a decision, man. If I'm gonna stay alive, or if I'm gonna get my health better to where I can get off the medication, or just be in a situation where it don't work. So I do know that's why some people don't take the medication, because it's messing with your body. So but losing weight, eating healthier. Sometimes it's just really in the family genes, but sometimes it's on you to get your body right, like you say, eat right and do shit like that, But no, Alex, I've never had any health scares, fortunately for me, man. I've been lucky and blessed.
Yeah, man. I would say for me, just going through some back pain for the last decade and not taking the medication because I'm scared of the medicine. I'd rather deal with the pain.
Yeah, right,
That
right. Then the effects. So yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't taken any of the medication that they prescribed to me. All they did was prescribe some painkillers. That's it.
Right, right, right.
So it ain't mandatory. It ain't something that's helping me. I don't think it would help me, but man, when you talk about diabetes, sickle cell, and some of these other things, man, then it gets to some serious stuff, man. And bro was only 49 years old, man. I want to tap in with with someone that knew him real well. I know you knew him, and I didn't know him as well as you knew him. I just knew him from passing here and there. I tried to get him to come on the channel a couple times, and he's actually kind of like not really interested. It's crazy. He had this incredible music career, but really wasn't interested in doing interviews that much. If you go look for his interviews, it's very few interviews that Y has ever gave.
No doubt, you know what I mean? But like I say, I did know him personally, man, and like I say, every time I pulled up on him and every time we bumped into each other, it was all love, all good, but like you say, yeah, some people, Alec, they do, they even boisterous because, he was a boisterous homie, but at the same time, when it came to the interview, some homies, and just people, period, don't do them as often, but I know he would have been a great interviewer, man, and because of the knowledge he had just coming up in the business, not only coming up in the business, but coming up in the Crenshaw Mafias, and so at the same time, man, he could have gave so much knowledge from his perspective, the business and the streets, somebody who did it real on both ends, so he would have been a great interview.
Yeah, let me give a call to let me see if Ant Dog will answer. This is a guy from out of Inglewood, and I'm gonna let him speak a little bit on Big Y.
Hello?
Ant.
Yes, sir.
You live right now, man. We were just talking about Big Y and the impact he's had on hip hop, and also we kind of talking a little bit about how health is wealth. And I know you knew him better than FG and myself. We're sitting here on Streets and Scholars, and we just wanted to get a couple of words, man, on Big Y.
I usually don't do no podcasts or shows or stuff like this, but out of respect for you, I felt that I needed to come on here for one, because when you guys posted the other day that he had passed, and I knew it wasn't so because I was at the hospital with him looking right at him, and I called you and asked you, could you take that down? Immediately you did, and I appreciate you for that, and I respect you for that. So I felt it was only right that I do come on here, get the record right and straight, that Big Y was still with us at the time. He is gone now, though, and health was the issue. And I think it's important that us as brothers out here, we need to understand that it ain't just the streets that's killing us, man. It's our health. And that's something a lot of us has overlooked. And I think we need to get back on our health tip, man, because not only did I just lose Big Y, I just lost my father to the same exact thing as Big Y. So I think it's important, man, that we don't just discuss shit in the streets. We need to discuss health so we can live, man, because we dying at an alarming rate, man. And I think health is very important. So that's another reason I agree to speak with you today, because I think that's an important issue for all of us, because that could have been me or you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. FG and myself were just talking about the importance of health. Can you tell the listeners, a little bit about who you are and how you got to know Big Y real quick?
Well, I'm Ant Dog from the city of Inglewood, and Big Y is my relative. Booger is my brother. That's my family, man. That's my family. Big Y was more than just a rapper to me, or he was more than just a dude out of Inglewood. He was my people, and he was good people. And he was doing positive stuff in and for the community that a lot of people probably was never aware of. Of course, a lot of us are aware of him on Banging on Wax, or being a part of the group, him and my brother, the relatives, and the Damu Riders and so on. But he also created the group Cali Swag District along with the homie Wacko. You know, these brothers, man, was really positive for our communities, man. And it's sad to see why go. You know, thank God nobody took his life. But it's still sad to see him go because the brother was so positive in so many other different areas that I wish he had just taken a little bit more better care of his health. You know, but Big Y was a father. You know, Big Y was a good man. He had a good heart, man, and he meant well. And Big Y was a lot smarter and a lot sharper than a lot of people knew that he was. And to be honest, a lot of the music you hear, including his own group and so on, Big Y was the man behind a lot of this that kept this going, man. A lot of these dudes that's doing this gangster rap all out here now, and all these dudes that want to be Bloods and so on that's rapping, Big Y was their influence, you know. And then a lot of these dudes that's doing a lot of different style of rapping and entertainment, including Cali Swag District and so on, you know, they also got that, you know, from Big Y. So he was well rounded in many areas, man, and he's gonna be missed. Definitely gonna be missed.
No, I know you pressed for time. I just got this last question. Big Y posted a video 6 years ago where he kind of went public with his battle with diabetes and the struggles that he was having. What can you tell us about how he challenged his diabetes during the last 6 years, and what actually was going on during that time?
Well, what he did, the first thing he did is he started exercising. He got him a trainer. He started working out. You know, he did lose some pounds. He did a great job. He was going pretty strong, but like a lot of us, you know, he fell off somewhat. You know, and I noticed a few of the pounds was coming back, but he never really gave up. But he didn't push as hard as he should have. And we actually talked about 2 or 3 days before he went unconscious in the hospital. I was at the hospital with him, and we talked about him getting back on his heel kick once he got out of that hospital. He needed to get back into training and working out like he was doing because it was helping him. He was starting to feel better, you know, live better, feel, you know, it was working for him. So we had that discussion, but unfortunately, he never made it out of the hospital to get back to that.
Okay, and I know that some people published his information about his memorial, his funeral. Is there anything you want to say on that, or is that private?
I believe I need to say something on that because we had a date set, and unfortunately, it's not going to be the date that we set, which was the 21st of this month. The date and location and time will be changing. We will be announcing that soon. And I think it's important that we announce that because there's a lot of people that may be coming from out of town, other states, or people right here in LA and Inglewood that may be taking days off of work so they can be there. And we don't want people taking off and the funeral's not even going to be that day. So I think it's important that we get the message out that the funeral is on hold until we get this new location and time and date. I think it's important that the people are aware of that. Because, we might have a lot of different celebrities and entertainers and what have you there. And we want to make sure that everybody has the right information about the time, date, location, and so on. So, yeah, it is important for the people to know that the funeral will not be on the 21st at 11 a.m. as it was supposed to be. The date and location has changed. We will put that out within the next couple of days. And I'll be sure to let you know so you can put the right information out also.
All right, man. I appreciate you for tapping in with Streets and Scholars, and I will definitely see you at the funeral.
Most definitely, brother. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for keeping it right.
All right, man. Take care.
Y'all have a good one.
All righty. Ant Dog from out of Inglewood, who grew up with him basically, So the funeral, we don't have a date on that funeral, FG, but I'm definitely going to tap in when they get that date figured out.
Nah, no doubt. That's what's up, man. He was full of knowledge, man. He gave us a better insight, man, and I appreciate you putting that brother on the phone.
Yeah, man. All right, so I wanted to talk about something else here. You know, the FBI and the LAPD, you know, they've been collaborating on different hoods and taking down different communities for the last several years. This is nothing new, but just recently there's been another I don't know if this is it an indictment? Yeah, it was another indictment and another arrest of a bunch of guys from out of the harbor area. And I don't know if this was going on when you first got caught up in the feds, FG, but how long has the LAPD or the Compton PD or the sheriffs collaborate with the feds to do these operations? When you got caught up, was it a collaboration between the FBI and the locals, or was it just the FBI on your head?
Well, you know, it's basically most of the time, Alex, it's almost basically a joint operation. And it's a joint operation because a lot of the shit you're doing is local shit that's happening. You know what I mean? If you selling drugs on the street, if you got a dope house, if you're doing something of that nature, then the local police going to know way before anybody else. So what happens is sometimes, and I know this even from my case and way back to when, you know what I mean, big homie Ducky and them Dave and them caught their case back in the early 90s, you know what I mean? The Compton Police Departments, the Sheriff's Department, you know, they collaborate with the FBI and give the FBI a lot of the necessary information that they get. You know, a lot of times that when these dudes in these neighborhoods are snitching and ratting, they really snitching and ratting to the local authorities. The local authorities then pass on their files and all their information to the FBI, and then the FBI, you know, decides that it's time, it's enough evidence, and it's time to stand on this. But most of the time, Alex, even if the sheriff or the police department is not mentioned, they truly really have a hand in a lot of the work that's done in these neighborhood operations.
Yeah, I noticed that certain neighborhoods get more attention from the feds than other neighborhoods, because I believe we just talked about this neighborhood, Eastside Wilmas down there in the harbor area. A bunch of them were just arrested by the feds in October, and here we are in 2023, and a bunch more of them are getting arrested. According to this article, it says here that the FBI served search warrants at locations throughout the South Bay and in Bakersfield. According to authorities, 7 of those arrested are among 10 defendants named across 3 criminal complaints filed in Los Angeles federal court. 1 defendant is in state custody. Law enforcement continues to search for the 3 others. I'm assuming that these 10 guys are in MDC right now. Would that be correct?
They should be. You know, they got a couple other facilities that they'll shoot you in, but for the most part, MDC is the spot that they'll throw you in.
And also, they're charging these guys with it's almost every time someone's going to jail now, it's fentanyl related. It says here, charges unsealed, alleged that they seized 23 straps, 57 pounds of meth, 23,000 fentanyl pills, and 5 pounds of powdered fentanyl, and 2 pounds of cocaine. That sounds like a life sentence, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, man, you know, they could build it up to be with all that, you know, right there, man, especially the fentanyl. You know what I mean? I just lost a cousin, you know, a day ago behind this, Alex, you know, and this fentanyl is really out there, you know, killing people. It then finally hit home, you know, unfortunately. But these dudes got caught with a lot of killing power, and that's how they're going to look at it.
Yeah, let me I got this clip from the local news here in Los Angeles, KCAL News, which is Channel 9 and Channel 2 here in Los Angeles. Take a listen to this.
This morning, they arrested members of a harbor area gang with ties to the Mexican mafia.
According to LAPD intelligence, members and associates of the Westside Wilmas and Eastside Wilmas gangs were committing acts of violence and drug trafficking with ties to the Sinaloa cartel. They have allegiance and are under the control of the Mexican mafia and carry out the threats which have a stranglehold on the harbor community.
The latest wave of the sting, known as Operation Wipeout, netted several arrests and federal and local charges. Charges ranging from narcotics possession and distribution to illegal firearms possession. The FBI says the local gangs do the bidding of the Mexican mafia prison gang, carrying out orders made from inside jail cells. Now, here are the results of the Operation Wipeout: 11 arrests, seizures of 50 pounds of methamphetamine, 23,000 fentanyl pills, 5 pounds of powder fentanyl, and 23 firearms, some of which were ghost guns. Agents still looking for 2 more fugitives in the case.
Man, it seems like nowadays, maybe not in your day, FG, but it seems like nowadays it's almost impossible to get away with any street hustling, any little bit of a little bit of trafficking that a lot of people grew up doing in the 80s and 90s just to make a little bit of money, just to buy some food, put some food on the table. But nowadays it just seems like it's almost impossible to do it.
I mean, I agree with you on that, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some people out there still, like I say, getting away with it. You know what I mean? I don't know, how, but they are doing it. On one end, everything you do, man, you have to deal with somebody. If you're a drug dealer, you have to deal with customers. If so that's where the problem come in, man. And it's like I say, with the internet and all the technology, it makes snitching to where you don't have to go down to the police department no more. You don't gotta, be seen coming out the police station. You know what I mean? So people just turning people in left and right. So you're right. I'll be telling dudes now, back in the day, man, you could set up a weed house and run it for years before the police came. Now, Alex, you set up a weed house right now. I mean, you may get a week or two out that thing. They coming. You know what I mean? So it's just that simple. Now, on the flip side, I can say this too as well. When we were coming up back in the day, Alex, and we grew up in the neighborhood, when we standing out on the block hustling, we know every neighbor on the street and they know us since we were kids. So they was less likely and reluctant to call the police on us because they knew we were just hustling and we were kids of theirs. You know what I mean? Now, because of the demographics where nobody no too many people on their street, it's easy for the neighbors to just see anything unusual and they're going to call the police. If too many cars come to your house, you cannot be selling drugs. You could just have a whole bunch of bras because you're a fly dude and they want to know what's going on over at your house, and they will make that call to say something suspicious is going over there. And it's not. So, with the society, turning everybody in, even if they don't know what's going on, it's hard to have a drug house or a weed spot or do anything illegal nowadays, man, because, it's just that's what it is. Not to mention the jealousy and hate that you're doing better than the next dude. It's a cold game out there, man. I had to go get a job, man.
Hey, yeah, you had to go get a job. Hey, but hustling on the streets is a job too, man. But it's unfortunately the underground economy, which we know what's crazy is the underground economy. If you want to call it criminal enterprises, it actually it's intertwined in with the legitimate economy. How do you think yachts get sold and Rolex watches get sold and exotic cars get sold? A lot of that stuff is being purchased from money that's generated on the underground economy. So as much as law enforcement wants to press the issue on people involved in this criminal activity, it contributes to our economy in the United States in such a significant way. Nobody wants to have that conversation.
No doubt. And that's a real conversation to have, Alex. I remember when I was at Latuna, and they took me out to prison and took me to UTEP, to the college, to speak to a criminal justice class. You know what I mean? I also used to, go to high schools and things of that nature and speak to kids like that. But they took me to a criminal justice class one day, and they act like they was trying to figure out why I did what I did, but I had to bust them out right there in handcuffs and all. I said, check this out, Now, UTEP is in El Paso. You could see the border from across the street. You know what I mean? So I say, listen, y'all sitting up in here, some of these classes, when y'all had these parties at y'all house and your uncle comes slide you that envelope to help you pay tuition or help you pay for some books, do y'all really know where that money coming from? Hell no, you don't. Man, I actually had I was on their ass so cold, man. I actually had some students shaking their head. Y'all getting drug money. You don't know what your uncle do. You know what I mean? You don't know what your grandpa do. They could have been in the drug trade many years. Now, you're not doing anything illegal, but you are receiving some of those funds. And like I say, man, this drug money, homie, fuels America. If you on the back end, if you ask me, that's why, not to get off topic, but that's why I don't think the dollar going nowhere no time soon. Shit, that drug money bring in billions and the politicians know it, just, nobody talks about it.
Yeah, even during Prohibition time in the 1920s when alcohol was illegal, and you had big families like the Kennedys. The Kennedys was bootlegging. Basically, that's trafficking.
No doubt. Yeah.
And the Kennedys are rich today because of some of the illegal activity they was doing in the back in the day. New York City, all of New York City's skyscrapers, all of those buildings was built through illegal activities from the not the Mexican mafia, the Italian mafia. The Italian mafia owned the concrete unions. They owned the glass unions. So how do you think you're going to build a building when they own the steel, the glass, and the concrete unions? You're going through criminal enterprises. So when you look at that New York City skyline, think of that was all built through criminal enterprise. And even the city of Miami, all of that downtown Miami was built through cocaine money. So, you know, we can't ignore that the underground economy is contributing to things that the legitimate economy is taking advantage of every single day.
No doubt. It's just the fact that when they hit the street level, you know, and they get to the street criminals, you know, that's where the time get kicked in. You know what I mean? You know, they catching these boatloads of cocaine and heroin and all kind of fentanyl and all kind of other drugs coming over, you know, and those guys getting the same 20 years as the dude who's selling a couple, you know, $100 worth on the street. You know what I mean? So of course it's all a game, you know what I mean, as well as the prison system, you know. But right now with this fentanyl, you know, if you go back to, you know, heroin didn't have bodies, you know, cocaine, you know, people did cocaine forever and didn't die. Now with this fentanyl, you know, you know, losing bodies left and right just off a mere small portion of it. And that's where I think some of they ramping it up and going after these drug dealers that's dealing with the fentanyl and trying to bust their head open, because this really is a problem that people just dropping off dying, you know, just by taking a little bit of it. So
yeah, man. So it's unfortunate that a lot of the black and brown that is involved in the underground economy, they get the most sentences. That's not to say a bunch of Italians and a bunch of other white gangsters didn't get maxed out either, but when it just comes to the average brother on the street corner that's just at the low level, he's getting like the same sentence that a white person on the high level is getting. So it's just imbalanced when it comes to prosecuting black and brown that are involved in this criminal underworld that this country heavily relies on. So
no doubt.
All right. Hey man, YNW Melly is in trial right now, and they actually put the death penalty back on the table, man.
Man, yeah, I heard about that.
And I have a clip here of his mom. Let me see if I can play this clip of his mom. And it's just a bizarre case going on in Florida. And we're going to talk about the Travis Rudolph trial in a minute, because that was a case that had I would say a very positive results. But I'm not so sure if YNW Melly is going to have the same result. And I say positive result if you believed in his innocence as we did. If the prosecution definitely thought that was a negative result. But let me play this clip of YNW Melly's mom and hear what she had to say the other day.
Our sheriff's office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too. My son has not been convicted of anything. And even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail. They don't give it to him. You know, it's just the things that they're doing. It's not right. I'm going to call the county commissioner and anyone and write a letter to whoever I need to, you know, I'm going to speak with my attorney as well to see who all we need to get involved in this so that he can at least get his own privileges back. I mean, it's Christmas, and Christmas Day is my birthday as well. I just want to hear my son's voice.
All right. That's
like the bare minimum. I just want to hear his voice. I just want to hear that he's okay.
That's her complaining about the treatment that YNW Melly is getting in court. And I mean, there's nothing new. I'm sure that there have been many times that other people have been sitting in their cells and they're not able to make the phone calls they want. They're not getting their mail on time. I'm sure you've experienced this firsthand.
No doubt. It happens. You know what I mean. But for a mother to go on there, and I mean, I hear what she's saying. I hear her cries, but at the same time, this what comes with it. This what people want, that criminal life. Then this what comes with it, bro. He's not crying about it, but she is. You know what I mean, ma'am? With all due respect, you got to go sit down and let the process play out. They don't play fair. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if you on trial for a double murder. You know what I mean? You got the death sentence hanging over your head, which they just went and revoted on the death penalty sentence over there. It used to be you needed 12 people to vote to determine if you're going to get the death penalty. Now they changed it to all you need is 8, Alex, 8 out of the 12, man. And so, you're looking at the death penalty now, so you're not getting some letters, and I do know that the letters and calls and stuff, kind of help keep you going. But in this case, man, you're fighting for your life. They're going to play those games with you. They're going to make sure that, they try to mess with your head. They're going to try to see if they can break you. You know what I mean? And so they may be doing the same lane to Portland, and one of them may break, Alex, but in this situation, man, they probably going to see who, like I say, if they can break them, if not, they're going to keep on messing with them and keep on doing the shit they doing. And, but I think they starting trial, ain't they?
Yeah, I think they're actually in the middle of it. They starting trial down there right when Travis Rudolph, who was just acquitted, he ended his trial. But I don't know if YNW Melly has some heavy hitter attorneys, and I don't think they have cameras in the courtroom for YNW Melly. So we ain't really gonna be able to tap in and actually see what's going on during the trial. I guess we're just gonna have to rely on some of the news reports that are gonna come out after when the testimony begins. But it's not looking good for YNW Melly, man.
No, it's definitely not, man. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna count the dude out, but at the same time, man, he got a real uphill battle. His situation is a hell of a lot different from Travis Rudolph, and he got an uphill battle all the way. He's gonna have to fight. And, I don't want to see him, end up with the death penalty, man. But at the same time, man, he's definitely going to have to fight. Now they talk about, not letting him make calls, not letting him get certain mail. But I also believe he put out an album while he was in there. So it could not be just that they trying to treat him fucked up. It could just be that they trying to stop him from, making some money from inside the jail. You know what I mean? So it could be a few situations outside of them just being shitty that they trying to not let him make his calls and not let him get his mail. So, it could be a number of details on that.
All right, I got another clip here on a YNW Melly. Take a listen to this one.
Explain it. Really know how to explain it. So my mama go.
Let me
explain it.
Here we go.
All right. First off, basically,
this is the mom again.
It wasn't just the judge who decided that 8-4. It was the Governor DeSantis. He made that new death penalty law. It went in effect immediately once he passed the law. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's 8-4 for the death penalty. The state chose not to drop the death penalty. And she wanted to file a motion to implement that. She wanted to go underneath these new guidelines. So it has nothing to do with, they're making it easier for him to be found or made this new law. It's for anybody. Literally. Not just for Melly. It's for anybody who is currently having a death penalty case. So is it fair? No.
Absolutely not.
It's basically like a knee-jerk decision from the Parkland shooting, that was someone who really did deserve the death penalty, but that's nor here nor there. So yeah, today we had more jury selection because the jury panel had to get death penalty qualified.
Oh yeah.
So that's what we did today. And basically, as she was trying to explain to people about, it's a death penalty case because she's trying to say like there's certain agitators, but she basically contradicts herself with the agitators because it's just all over the place because it's gang.
Welcome back to the channel once again, fam. YNW Melly is facing a possible death penalty as he sits in prison awaiting trial for murder, but he's passing the time by producing an album behind bars. The rapper had been working on Just a Matter of Slime for the better part of the last 8 months. Reportedly, he spent hours and hours on the phone, securing collabs with other rappers like Young Thug, Future, and Lil Uzi Vert. He's also spent a lot of time talking to sound engineers. Melly recorded his verses long before he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder over the shooting deaths of 2 friends. He's been locked up since February of 2019, and while he awaits trial in Broward County, Florida, where prosecutors are seeking the death penalty, the rapper has still been grinding. As for the meaning behind the album title, here's the story. YNW had been unable to get a trial date for the murder case due to the COVID-19 pandemic shutting down the courts. But with things slowly but surely opening up again, YNW feels it's, well, just a matter of time until he sees his court date. Check out what he had to say.
They want you to explain, like, the video for 9/11, like, I guess how you came up with it or what was your vision for it. They want to know.
They want to know right now?
Yeah, right now. That's one of the top requests.
You on mute, bro. Unmute your mic. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it there. I don't think a rapper has ever faced a death penalty before. Am I correct on that?
Shit, not that I can recall. I'm sure one may have, and it could have been dropped, later on before trial began or something like that. But this prosecutor just filed paperwork to make sure that it falls under the new guideline. So she's definitely pushing forward. I understand her circumstances. For people that's not familiar with this case, allegedly, he killed a couple of his friends and then shot the car up and made it seem like it was a drive-by shooting. Then drove him to the hospital. So forensics came back. They determined that they didn't feel that was an adequate story, and they took him and his partner Bortland down. And they fighting a murder case from 2 friends, that they allegedly killed. So I can understand why the state, would try to make this a death penalty case. So I'm just hoping, like I said, at the end of the day, man, hope he didn't do it, and he can get out and, continue his career. I don't know his music, all of that nature, but I do know a lot of the youngsters bump his shit though.
Yeah. I was completely unaware of who this guy was until this case came up. In fact, I talked about this before. I actually met bro and didn't know who he was when I was at an event here in LA, and he was just there doing his thing. And I'm gonna show a quick clip of what this clip is crazy to me because I didn't know I had it, and someone brought it to my attention that remembered me being there. But I got YNW Melly, and then the guy that he's accused of, one of the guys he's accused of killing on that day. Let me play this clip real quick. And it's a YNW Sack Chaser is one of the guys that he's being accused of killing. And this is just when he was in LA. I think I shot this little clip in 2018. And in the middle there is YNW Melly, and all the way to the left of the screen with the black leather coat on is YNW Sack Chaser, and that's one of the guys he's accused of killing.
Damn.
And I'm not going to play this whole clip. I'll put a link to this in the show notes for all the podcast listeners. And if you want to check this out, it's on my StreetTV platform. But I couldn't believe I was just, I pull out my camera and I'm always shooting. I saw these dudes doing their thing, and that's YNW Melly back in 2018 here in LA hanging out. And it's just crazy that this guy here in the black leather coat right to his side is one of the guys he's accused of killing. So I posted that for people to check it out. It still blows my mind that this guy is accused of killing 2 of his rap mates, basically, right?
Yeah, no doubt. You know what I mean? I don't know what the situation was. I don't know what the beef was, if it was one, but he's definitely accused of knocking him off. And like I say, shooting up the car and then driving them to the, when she said agitators, and that could be one of them, that you took the time to, after you shot him, drove him to the hospital to make it seem like it was another situation, allegedly. And so I could see that being a what she called an agitator right there, special circumstances is, what we call them here in California, and so I could see that the malice that they would feel that, that took some special kind of, grit to do. So of course they're gonna try to knock him off with that death penalty, man.
Yeah, and I want to let all the podcast listeners know, whether you're listening on Apple, Google, iHeart, or Spotify. I think Spotify, we have our largest audience. Just tap into the show notes below, and I have links to this video, and you can check out some of the clips. And I just want to appreciate all the podcast listeners. And if you're not listening to us on those big four podcast, Spotify, iHeart, Google, and Apple, tap in with us and let us know where you're listening to us from. And we're just gonna move on to we're gonna talk about the Travis Rudolph acquittal, FG. But before we talk about that acquittal, which we both nailed it in the last episode, but before we talk about that acquittal, I want to talk about this topic of fake paperwork. This fake paperwork topic is becoming a phenomenon, and it's like a way to try to smut someone really quickly. And the reason why it's coming up again is because just recently a dude from the north, a Norteño guy named Gunners Collective, who's known on YouTube, he presented some paperwork. He didn't create the paperwork. He got duped. He got duped into believing the paperwork, which accused American Cholo of being a child molester, of messing with a 15-year-old. And it turns out it was all a lie. And what happened was someone took the paperwork of a real guy that had the same last name as American Cholo and then changed it and put his first name on it. And presented it as his paperwork. And my question to UFG is, have you ever I'm talking about in the days when you was going through the system, have you ever heard of this idea of fake paperwork to smut somebody?
You know what I've heard of it? I heard people trying to type up paperwork, people trying to pass off fake paperwork, people trying to, get over on people who don't know. One thing you have to realize and understand, Alex, is everybody don't know how to read paperwork. Some people can't decipher fake paperwork from real paperwork. You know what I mean? When I was going through my situation, and my paperwork was presented online, people was talking about this was made up, 82 pages of it, you know what I mean? I could see 1 or 2 pages of it, somebody making something up, but my shit was 82. Who the hell got the time and date, to do that? But on the flip side, yeah, people try to pass off some fake paperwork. But at the end of the day, if you don't know how to read the FBI numbers that, that's on the paperwork, there's a certain way they write up the paperwork. Now, state and federal paperwork is different. The problem is that it's been fake paperwork passed off. Some people that lost their life has been stabbed up and then had their ass beat over fake paperwork, but for the people who do this shit, the people who try to, put this shit out there, you know what I mean? That's a fucked up situation just based on, you can get somebody hurt, with some fake shit, or just putting a jacket on somebody, period, especially when it comes to certain activities, you know what I mean? When you put a rat or a child molester jacket on somebody, bro, and it's not true, bad news travel fast, you know what I mean? So you putting people in a position where they can be hurt, and things of that nature. And, like I say, before you pass some paperwork on, go. You got so many avenues, Alex, you know what I mean? Pacer and, so many other avenues, government avenues, man, check that shit out, man. Stop just passing fake bullshit around. It can get somebody knocked off.
Yeah, and if anyone is being accused of molesting, that's an easy thing to check, because you can go to Megan's Law website. It's a little different from, like, in your paperwork, FG, someone was accused of ratting as a CI. Now that's a little bit more trickier to verify, right? You just can't verify a CI. But if someone is accused of molesting, that could easily be verified on the website meganslaw.ca.gov. It is a very simple process. If you thought American Cholo was a chomo, then all you got to do is put his name in the Megan's Law website and see if his photo and name is in there. As simple as that.
It's simple as that, but at the same time, you got to look at it like this too. I do believe that sometimes we get misinformation. You know what I mean? You know, and we've done it here on the show before where we've been online, seen information that we deemed or figured it has some truth to it and it didn't. You know, I mean, and these come from reliable sources. I think we got something one time from the Washington Post. No, it was the LA Times, you know, and it was false information. So, you know, we will believe that something we got out the LA Times, you know, will be, you know, pretty much true. So we spoke on it. And it wasn't. So I get that sometimes but when you talking about setting somebody out there, you know, when you talking about, you know, putting somebody, you know, a career in jeopardy, when you talking about putting somebody's life in jeopardy, you know, by putting some paperwork out there, I just really believe that, you know, it should be a source of discipline that come when it deemed not to be true. You know what I mean? Because this shit is getting out of hand. You know, these dudes is on, you know, and I'm not pointing no finger at one dude. I'm talking about everybody on the net, man. You know, yeah, we can have false information on some, you know, some information that don't harm nobody. But when you talking about some shit that'll harm somebody, homie, and calling somebody a child molester, definitely can motherfucking get somebody hurt or make me, you know, I see Gil all the time on this show. You know what I mean? I know who American Cholo is. I spoke to him and you know, and me and Gil chopped it up. But had he been a real child molester, then I'd be on his ass too. You know what I mean? You know, but so with that, you know, like I say, I'm not saying that, you know, if it was true, Gunner set him out, or anybody else set him out, you know. But at the same time, man, in this situation with this paperwork, we got to check this shit thoroughly before you accuse somebody of some certain shit.
Now Gunner did go do he deleted the video and he did apologize. But when you watch the original video, it seemed like he was just celebrating. He was just so happy that he had this smut on American Cholo. My question is, do you think an apology for putting that type of jacket on somebody is enough? Because I believe sometimes apologies just ain't enough.
Keep going.
What about in this situation?
No, I believe that American Cholo had the right to be like, no, we got to get in. You know what I mean? You know, straight up, homie, you tried to set me out there like that. And this one thing about this internet thing and these dudes, that's where they at. You know what I mean? These dudes is you know, in North Carolina or and you know, in different cities and states that's not around. You know what I mean? Man, stop doing that shit because you hiding behind your computer at home, Alex. You know what I mean? I believe American Cholo got all the right in the world, and the Southsiders will get on that boy head for that, you know, and his own people. You know what I mean? Because it could potentially bring heat. You know, unfortunately, they up in the North. You know what I mean? So they could never meet or bump heads or nothing like that. But you know, us that's here in the city, Alex, that's out in the streets, I got to be mindful of what I say. You know, especially accusing somebody of something that they didn't do, because I'm out. You know, I'm in the streets. You know what I mean? You know, I bump into people all the time, you know. So you got to be mindful with this shit, man. But I if I was Gil, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'd be like, man, run that, you know, and let it be, you know. But Gil got all the right in the world to feel how he feel.
Now there's a guy named Jorge Tejada that was born in 1943 that is accused of lewd and lascivious acts. 1992 that was in this paperwork that was floating around, and it's real paperwork, but it wasn't Gil. They just took Jorge's name off the paperwork and put Gil's name on the paperwork. Same last name, different first name, and it was as simple as that. And I think that the social media and the apps make this easy. Look, you know, I'm gonna tell you something that I did. I took this fake paperwork and I put it through a program to find out how it was manipulated. And one of the creators of whoever doctored it, the creator was Instagram. So that means someone used Instagram's editing tool to change out names. And I think that, let's say 20 years ago, if you wanted to make fake paperwork, you needed to have like the best software. You had to have Photoshop on your computer. You need to know how to manipulate the text. But today, you can just do this on your cell phone. You could literally pull up an image on your cell phone, delete what you want to delete, add in what you want to add in using either Instagram or some of these other apps. And I think we're going to continue to see people trying to smut people's names with fake paperwork.
No doubt, Alex. But see, the problem, what's going to happen is it's going to be so much fake paperwork out there that when the real paperwork come through, nobody's going to believe it. You know what I mean? I saw that firsthand, man. When real paperwork, when they put that paperwork on the street, homie, and it just people didn't want to believe it because they believed in who they believed in. You know what I mean? To this day, with all the different factors that was involved, some people still don't want to believe it. So that's what's going to make it bad. So then it's going to make it where paperwork is obsolete, because they already been stopped letting paperwork into the system. They raid your cell to try to find your paperwork to make you send it home because they wanted a facility with no paperwork. So when we used to have the paperwork parties to check a dude paperwork to make sure he was straight, they wanted to make sure that didn't nobody have paperwork. You know what I mean? So couldn't nobody check nobody paperwork. But I used to be on dude's ass so tough on me. I had a P.O. box on the street, send it to the P.O. box, and I'm gonna have the homies go on the street, go get it and read it. Your mama send it to or your girl send it to the P.O. box. My homie gonna go check it out and read it on the streets, and we never had to have the paperwork. So there's ways around it when you really own this shit. Unfortunately, that while you on the street with all the technology you got, you can have some paperwork, homie, that looks so believable and so real. Me personally, if somebody slid me some paperwork at this moment, I would have to use a government database to corroborate and make sure all this shit is the same before I would press a line like that. If I don't have a dude saying FG, he read it on me, I know. Now, some dudes, I'm just going to take their word for it, Alex. You know what I mean? If you tell me such and such got on the stand on you, I'm going to believe you. You know what I mean? There's no reason for you to lie. There's no reason for you to make that up, and you putting your life on the line as well by even saying it, so, but nowadays, as we see, the rats outnumber everybody anyway. But when it comes to that child molesting shit, man, that's a whole different thing. That I believe a person with a child molester jacket, just to be honest with you, should get smashed on from all angles. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing I don't play about, man. That child molestation, homie. So to put a jacket on dude like that to try to mess up his career could be, like you say, he was gloating or this or that, it could be because he's from the North, or it just could be, he want to put dude out of business. I don't know. But if he knew it was fake, then that was foul. But if he didn't, I got him, I ain't mad at him for trying to expose a molester. You know what I mean?
Well, he didn't know the paperwork was fake, but I think the problem was he already didn't like Gil. So what it did was it prevented him from doing his due diligence and checking and going to, let's say, Megan's Law database. Like if someone tells me, if anyone tells me that such and such is a chomo, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it up on Megan's Law database.
No doubt.
And if you skip that process, that means you don't really care. You ain't really checking, right?
No doubt. But at the same time, if you send me some information, Alex, about another podcaster, another YouTuber, another somebody of that nature, then I'm a triple check it. You know what I mean? Just based on, I know people like to see drama out here. I know they like to see, people arguing and going back and forth. And I'm definitely not with that shit. You know what I mean? I'm call a spade, but I'm definitely not into just trying to find something on another YouTube dude or a podcast or something like that, just to, for any kind of recognition. But so if you send me some information, if somebody would sent me some about Gil or sent me some about anybody, and they another and they own, YouTube or a podcast, and I'm a triple check, bro. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that this ain't a setup for me to jump out there, and start something with a dude with some false information because they doing what I'm doing or in the same lane or something of that nature, So, like you say, he could have did, more due diligence, you know what I mean? And but at the same time he didn't. So did he come back and, like you say, try to rectify the situation though? Did he call Gil personally? Did he get on the phone with him? Did he say my bad? Because in a situation like that, even if it was my enemy, homie, I gotta apologize if I said something out there like that. That damn, what degree of, manning up did he take, in order to rectify? Do you know?
Yeah, I would say he bowed it all the way down, completely apologized. But I'm not concerned about the apology because that's an automatic. That's a no-brainer. I'm concerned about the lack of due diligence, the lack of checking it up, the lack of calling around. When a lot of people get paperwork in LA that know me, they get paperwork. They call me and, hey, they say, yo, Alex, I know you know this court shit better than I do. I need you to check something for me. That's doing due diligence.
Right.
This guy absolutely called no one. He just ran with it. And that's the problem that I have. And it's not just him. I'm not here to attack any one person. It's just the because of the prevalence of fake paperwork, there is a lack of checking it because he might be your enemy, or you don't like his get down on YouTube. So it's easier for you to just smut his name on social media. And once you do that, most of this stuff is irreversible. I mean, he deleted his video, but guess what? This other YouTuber copied it and reacted to it. So it's still on the internet. And, you know, I think you do a permanent type of damage, even though you apologized.
No doubt. You can't reel that in. You know what I mean? That's why I say, you know, earlier, you know, bad news travel fast, man. And some people never get the real. Some people never could, you know, the situation that they may be in, this would be the last they heard that you know, negative something about Gil. You know what I mean? So I get it. No, 100%. You know, you call somebody a rat, you call somebody a chomo. It's more people that's going to hear the negative than hear the, oh no, it was a mistake. You know what I mean? So no, it's definitely damning, you know what I mean. But at the same time, you know, I do believe that there's some people on the net, you know, that I don't know personally, that I do just see on YouTube, or I do just see on, you know, podcasts, and that when if I heard something about them, just from me seeing they get out on a podcast, like I say, man, I would just triple check, you know, before I even, you know what I mean, went down that road. I would make sure my information is solid before I say something about the next man, period. You know, opposed to talking about a event or news story or something like that, you know, because some of this shit, like I say, do come with repercussions, but it do come with damage. You know, when you try to fuck up somebody's name, you know, that's why I say, man, Gil should want to get down over that. But, you know, I mean, that's how he handled how he handled it. But at the same time, man, you know, that's fucked up that got out there like that.
And I think the point that you said earlier is really important, that the prevalence of fake paperwork makes it very difficult for someone to present real paperwork. And I want to know, did you expect people to challenge your paperwork when you presented that paperwork online about a year ago? Because there was, I don't know, I would say a lot of pushback, but there was an amount of pushback that surprised me.
No, it shocked me. You know what I mean? You know, it shocked me, just to be honest with you. You know, I didn't realize, because somebody may be somebody, you know, an internet sensation, or, you know, a deemed as credible, you know what I mean, that, you know, when I hear some, you know, when I said something that, you know, people was skeptical, you know what I mean? I know people didn't know who I was, or things of that nature, but if they would have just did their homework, you know what I mean, and saw who I was, you would have known that I wasn't no motherfucking joke myself. I just wasn't on the internet, you know what I mean? Like I say, I never believe in a million years that I would have had that much pushback, you know, but at the same time, you know, that's even what made me stand on it even harder, you know what I mean? Just based on, y'all don't know y'all fucking with. I'm FG, you know what I mean? So, but I'm not gonna ever smut no dude up, you know, and don't have the facts. I'm not here to, you know, I got a lot of, oh man, he just jealous, or he just want a podcast. No, I didn't want shit. I wanted somebody to keep my name out their mouth. You know what I mean? And when you spoke on me, you know, just like in the streets, homie, I'm gonna speak back. You know, we getting a little older in life, so you know, of course, I don't handle the missions like I do. You know, to handle the situation the same. But at the same time, homie, you know, yeah, I had a lot of pushback. A lot of people just didn't want to believe it. You know, and but at the same time, you know, I ain't gonna never push nothing on nobody, no enemy, no friend, no homie, no nobody, if it negatively and it don't be accurate, you know.
Well, I think that now in 2023, I believe that your story has prevailed. There might be a few people in the corners somewhere that still challenge it, but overall, I think your story did prevail. How do you feel in 2023 about it?
Well, what I actually felt, Alex, you know what I mean, that I realized there was more rats out there than we think. You know what I mean? There was a lot of other rats that was mad at me for exposing them. You know what I mean? You know, instead of somebody shitting out, I took a close look at the people who sit there and say, you know, that I was lying, opposed to the people that just, you know what I mean, really, really don't want rats to be exposed. You know what I mean? So, of course, if you a chomo, you don't want no other chomo to be exposed either. You know what I mean? So I took a fine look at the people who was questioning what I was doing or why I was doing it and things of that nature, because at the same time, where we come from, and a lot of you dudes that talking about y'all street dudes, y'all should have been standing right behind me 1,000,000%, saying, this dude came out just strong, just saying, making some saying some hell of a truths, you know what I mean? Ain't backing down off nothing. He got to be real with it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like I say, you got a lot of people that, don't want to, they done told too, you know what I mean? So when you get to talk about these real dudes and these paperworks and this, it's like the rats is kind of excelling based on anytime some paperwork come out now, oh, it's fake. That's fake. That's fake. And I guess that's the excuse they're going to use to get by. Oh man, that's fake, but why would somebody put out some fake paperwork? I don't know. I don't, why would somebody waste their time? You got to be a cold dude to make up some fake paperwork on a dude. If he's solid, he's solid. If you don't like it, just say you don't like him. You know what I mean? Just say, I don't know, dude, or I just don't like the dude. You know what I mean? And keep it 100. Say what it is, and you will get more respect. Doing that. Gunner may take a hit on his situation, not by default. Like I say, not to say he was just trying so hard to, like you say, put no fake paperwork out there, but his credibility could take the next time he say somebody a rat, people gonna double check, want him to double check. You know what I mean? So like I say, you got to be kind of mindful when you put a dude out there, be ready to have all the facts lined up. You're on mute. There you go.
And reach out to people like myself, because I do my due diligence. I will literally go downtown to the courthouse. I will literally go into the archives if need be. I will go into the basement and sit there and wait for an hour for them to go in the back, wherever they go, and pull up a file. It's worth doing that before you run to the internet wanting to smut somebody. I wanted to show this this little image that was sent to me. This case right here that I have, it belongs to a guy named Jose Tejada. But as you can see here, FG, they put Guillermo Tejada. That's Gil's name, and everything else here is true, right? And then at the bottom, they added this fake paragraph about North Hollywood boys, his Varrio. And so this part is fake, but all these numbers, these Cal apps, these case citations, all of that is real. And they just put Gil's name in there and took out, I believe, Jose's name. So I guess it comes with a little bit of legitimacy, but if you look real close, if you pull this up into a document, you can tell that it was doctored. And here's another thing they did. They changed the year on it. The procedural history part of this is supposed to be 1992. They changed it to 1996. So they changed a few things to make it seem like, okay, this is really American Cholo's paperwork. But I'm here to tell you that all of this is fake. And also, Gil would be in the Megan's Law database if this was true. So unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with. And the last thing I want to say is, in your case, FG, there were FBI surveillance photos that identified confidential informant witnesses. You're in the same photos, and everyone should know that that you know who's in those photos with you, and you know when those photos were taken, and you know who was in those photos with you when they was taken.
No doubt. Like I say, man, I would have had to be a cold dude just to make up some shit like that and then try to justify it, even with the photos and this, things of that nature, man. Not to mention, man, I'm from East Side Compton, homie, and you can't get away with that. Linwood, Compton, Wise, man, you can't just do that shit on the East Side, man, and just expect you to just no pushback, from the homies, you know what I mean? So, when they see that I was still walking around the hood and still doing what I'm doing, man, and homies wasn't coming in saying shit, then how's y'all gonna come in and say some shit? You know what I mean? But, like you say, but once it's a celebrity or once it's somebody that people like or once it's, you know, a movie star, when people hear negative stuff about them, Alex, they do be reluctant to, you know, to believe them. You know what I mean? You know, people, you know, you had the R. Kelly situations, you know, people didn't believe that. You know what I mean? He was convicted of it, you know, and got a significant amount of time behind it, you know. But when you initially hear stuff, you don't want to believe it. I get that part, you know, but when the facts come out, man, you got to believe it, man. It should be real.
No doubt. And unfortunately, the people are going to have to believe also that it looks like Tory Lanez is going to prison. There is at this point, there is no hope for him to escape going to prison. His attempt to try to remove the judge off the case was failed. And I wrote this article, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, FG, that once the prosecutors filed their motion for extra time, I did some math on it, and I wrote an article thinking that, damn, they're going to go for 19 years. But we just learned, FG, that the prosecutor wants 13 years for what Tory did, man. What's your whole take on that 13-year sentence that they're asking for the judge to give him?
Oh, hey, man, 13 better than 20. You know what I mean? I thought they was going to ask for a dub, you know, so if they asked for the 13, I believe they may went with a number that maybe if they went with the 20, the judge be like, okay, they just trying to go for the max. With the 13, it seemed like they may have, you know, went in there and took some consideration, you know, to ask for that sentence, because they may have went in there and took consideration to ask for 13. The judge may, you know, actually work with them on that. You know what I mean? You know, and sometimes, like you say, you know, you shoot for the moon, you get a star. So even with the 13, man, they may, you know, okay, y'all asked for the 13, but we gonna give him 11. You know, that's a lot of time, Alex. You know what I mean? So we definitely gonna see how that pans out, man. And but 13, man, yeah, I understand where the prosecutors are coming from, but just, you know, as a human being, man, 13, that's a lot of time. You know, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, I think 13 is a little too much, but I understand. Tory did some things to piss off the prosecution. Tory did some things to piss off the judge that most defendants would not do.
Right.
And I think that's playing into it. I think if he would have stayed quiet, stayed off the internet, tried to fight his case, he could have ended up with maybe a 6, 7, 8 year sentence somewhere in there. I know they're saying 9 years is the minimum, but keep in mind the judge has the discretion of running sentences concurrently or consecutively. That's the judge's choice. So even though 9 has been set as the minimum, another minimum could have been 6, between 6, 7, 8. So I think if he would have acted differently, he could have probably got a sentence less than 9, maybe around 6 or 7 years. So I think that his antics are playing a role in the sentence that the prosecution's asking in that 13 years.
No doubt. Speaking of antics, that, you know, when it comes to these court procedures, man, I'm gonna do I got a video I need to upload it about some antics that went on in a 1997 gun case that I had in Torrance, California. And antics do play a part of it, man. You know, the things you do, you know, the things you say, you know, the way you act, the disrespect that you can have in a courtroom with gestures and things of that nature, Alex, they play a role, bro. You know what I mean? So I agree with you 100% on that, man. He could have did it different, you know what I mean? But these dudes sometimes just don't understand that shit plays a part. You know, those judges and prosecutors don't forget the slick shit you might say or the gestures you might do, or, you know, the things of that nature. So the nonchalantness you may have, you know, all those things play a factor. So yeah, you're right on that, bro.
Now, there was a brother that went on trial a few months ago. I don't think we spoke about it on Streets and Scholars, but he defended himself in a case where he took his car and ran over a whole bunch of people. I think he killed 5 or 6 people, and he defended himself. But during trial, he had pissed the judge off every single day.
Right. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And when he was found guilty, the judge gave him the most harsh sentence that any judge can give. So this is a good example of, you want to piss the judge off? Go watch that trial. It's on YouTube, and he got all day. He's never going to see the light of day.
Yeah,
and that's partly because of how much he pissed off that judge.
Yeah, I remember that situation. Yeah.
All right, man. Lastly here, Anything else you want to say about the Tory getting this? Well, he didn't get 13 years. Let's just make that
Right,
clear.
right. They asked him for it, but no, we just gonna watch and see what actually happened. You know, his sentences are coming up, so we gonna just to see how that go.
Yeah, I'll be in court next week for that, and I'll report to the Streets and Scholars listeners on our next episode what he eventually gets. I do think that the judge is pissed also because, you know, Tory called the prosecution corrupt, and then he said the judge wasn't doing his job right. So he might get that 13. I mean, the judge might just be like, all right, I'm going to give you the 13, and that's end of story for Tory. And all he's got to hope on is an appeal that might come down the pipe in a couple of years from now. Those appeals aren't immediate. They're not overnight. But lastly, man, let's talk about Rudolph, man, because I think we call this one right on the money, man. Travis Rudolph, the former NFL player from Florida that shot up the people that came to shoot up his shit, basically. And he killed one. He killed a guy named Sebastian Jean-Jacques. So he was on trial for basically 1 count of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. And they found bro not guilty on everything.
Yeah, no doubt. You know what I mean? At the same time, man, look, he was in there fighting for his life. Could have went a couple ways based on how the laws are wrote down there in Florida, man, you know, but I'm glad he prevailed, man. You know, the boy needed to be exonerated from that case. People shouldn't be able to just come over and do anything they want to you at your house. You know what I mean? So I believe that the jurors looked at it in that way. I believe they looked at it if they was in the same situation. You know, they tried to come in different circumstances about, you know, there was other people in the car. How did you shoot everybody, you know? So at the end of the day, I believe that justice prevailed. At the end of the motherfucking day, you know, justice prevailed, man.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the main issue or the question in the trial was the first one was, did the guys that came to his house point guns at him? And then the second issue was, once they retreated, once those 4 guys were driving away, was Travis shooting at the car now not self-defense anymore? So that was kind of like, I was thinking that if you got some hardcore juries on the stand, they might say, yeah, Travis, you continued to shoot while they were retreating. But, you know, that was the only 2 issues that he had to worry about.
Yeah, but those could have been the 2 issues that got him a life sentence or got him convicted, at least. You know, I ain't gonna say a life sentence, but got him convicted. You know, those 2 sentences right there. I did, like I say, prosecutor said something that I won't forget. You know, because sometimes, you know, like I say, we got to learn from shit. We got to keep shit in mind. You know what I mean? And once he said, self-defense murder begins when self-defense ends. You know what I mean? And so I thought with that line right there, Alex, they was gonna eat that up and, you know, maybe go the other way on him. You know, but they stuck to their guns, man, and let cut the boy loose.
Yeah, man, they did stick to the guns, and even I'm gonna say this, even if they weren't pointing guns at him at that moment, because I think the law requires that the threat has to be that clear. But it was clear enough that 4 dudes came to his porch, knocked on his door. They did have guns. Whether or not they pointed them or not, I personally think is irrelevant. I know the law needs those guys to be pointing the gun for Travis's shooting to be legally self-defense. But I just think once those 4 brothers came onto his property, knocked on his door, and were there under false pretenses because he never assaulted that girl, I think everything was allowable at that point.
No, I totally agree, you know, but sometimes justice don't work like that, you know, in the eyes of these jurors and prosecutors. As you see, the prosecutor was aiming for his head, bro. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you got to, I don't know if the public got a chance to see when they had the female detective on the stand. You know, she didn't do anything, Alex, to investigate, you know, the other people. You know, she arrested Travis and shit. It was in the story. You know, she didn't go do her homework really on what happened. She felt they had an airtight case and just what she had, but she didn't even go really do all the homework to what the other people did to warrant this. Her ideology just was, you know, this dude is wrong. He going to prison, you know? So, yeah, man, it was crazy.
Now the question is, a lot of people asking me, do I believe that Dominique Jones, the woman that put this whole thing in motion, can she be charged now? She definitely did some things that you can say were illegal and criminal, but I think that after they charge whoever they wanted to charge, which was Travis Rudolph, and they were unsuccessful, I think it's the end of the case. I don't think they're going to go backpedal and now try to find somebody else guilty.
No doubt. But at the end of the day, man, she was a real piece of shit for what she did. You know, the way she handled it, how she even tried to, you know, the nonchalant, like I say, her in court being nonchalant with the defense attorneys and things of that nature, man. You know, and we were just talking about that shit play a role. Her getting up there saying some of the shit and acting the way she act on the stand, man. You know, probably even help sway some jurors like, man, this girl is a piece of shit and this dude shouldn't be in this situation. You know, so that's what we mean by, you know, one's how a person act in court, you know, because when they had her up on the stand, she was very, you know, matter of factly, you know, and didn't seem like she had no remorse for her cousin or Travis, you know. So yeah, those things play a role. I believe as a family member, I probably would have kicked her ass, you know what I mean? You know, as an auntie or you know what I mean? Somebody should have, you know, put some hands on her or something. You got somebody killed, you almost got another dude, you know, a long, lengthy prison sentence, you know, and it seemed like you ain't even tripping, you know. So
all right, let me play this clip of Travis coming out of court after he was found not guilty on all charges.
On all counts. That is how the trial ended for former FSU and NFL football player Travis Rudolph.
WPTV's Chris Gilmore reaching out to both sides of the courtroom for a reaction.
A lot of emotion spilling over today at the Palm Beach County Courthouse. The state saying they don't agree with the jury's verdict. The defense team and Rudolph's family saying they couldn't be happier.
Hey, I just want to say one thing to our listeners, that guy doing the news story is black, but he is in his news voice. Hey, a lot of these brothers, man, they don't talk the way they really talk when they do
right.
These news guys, man, it always just trips me out. They put on this whole new voice, but this is Chris Gilmore reporting for WPTV in Miami. Here we go.
The jury's verdict. The defense team and Rudolph's family saying they couldn't be happier. There were no shortage of tears, prayers, and hugs today in the Palm Beach County Courthouse.
Your life is in 12 jurors' hands. That's a scary feeling. So definitely was nervous, and you know, we definitely pray a lot. We have unwavering faith. So.
Travis Rudolph cleared on the first-degree murder and 3 first-degree attempted murder charges against him. The case stems back to a deadly shooting in April 2021 after an argument with Rudolph's alleged girlfriend. Rudolph's older sister, Tierney Coleman, says the key evidence in this case was her family's testimony, also applauding the defense attorneys.
I think that Mark did a really, really good job exposing the truth and allowing the jury and the world to see what really happened.
Rudolph says more than anything, he looks forward to his life getting back to normal.
And I finally got my freedom back. I can get back to my life, man.
Thank you, God. Thank you for just making this day happen. I love you.
We want to reach out to both sides and heard back from the state attorney's office, their spokesperson, saying this, and I quote, "Although you may disagree with the jury's verdict, it's their job to determine from the facts whether a defendant is guilty or not guilty. We respect the jury's decision. Our thoughts are with the victims and their families in this case."
All right, that's Chris.
Now it's Chris Gilmore, WPTV.
That's Chris Gilmore. I said Miami a second ago. It's Palm Beach County, and that's Chris Gilmore in his news voice.
No doubt.
I guarantee you, Chris Gilmore don't talk like that.
Right. Hey, as soon as he take that tie off, man, to get that mic out his face, you know what I mean? He probably talking about, man, slide, roll that joint up, man, roll that blood up, man. But at the same time, Alex, you know, like I say, he was acquitted, man. You know, unfortunately, dude did lose his life, you know, over some foolishness. Once again, over some foolishness behind a female. And one thing I hate to see is, you know, I know men go at it sometime, but at the same time, when it's behind a female, when it's behind a broad, I'd be highly disappointed in men itself. You know, when I even see homies arguing over a female or backbiting another man, you know, to get at a female, that shit disgusts me, man, you know. But the dude definitely still got to watch his back though, Alex. I don't know if he planned on staying in the same neighborhood or living in the same area, but just to be honest with you, you did kill a person. You did kill somebody's family member, you know, not saying you didn't have the right to do so. I'm saying that somebody still lost a loved one. Somebody still might want to answer for that. You know what I mean? So, you know, bro, go and move up out of town to live your life comfortably, you know, and watch your back, man, you know, because unfortunately, man, sometimes, you know, shit we do, you know, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, somebody might want to answer, you know, so just be careful out there, young brother.
Just keep that AR-15 real close, man.
Man.
But I want to make a correction in the letter that Chris Gilmore, the news guy, was reading from the prosecution. He called Sebastian Jean-Jacques a victim. And check this out. When you're acquitted on self-defense, the guy you killed is not a victim anymore.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah, legally, he's not a victim anymore because that a victim suggests that there's a crime committed. But if it's self-defense, there is no crime. Therefore, he's not a victim. So I just wanted to point that out. My last question before we wrap this up, FG, is that we heard testimony from Travis that he said that he wants to get back into football. He actually did have a contract to play in Canada 2 years ago when this all happened. Him not being on the gridiron for the last 2 years, do you think, I mean, as talented as he was at FSU, do you think he can get back into the game, get that contract with Canada, and possibly make it on an NFL squad again? And also, he's 27 years old, so he's still young.
Okay, well, I was going to ask you that. You know, he's 27, Alex, but actually 27 in football years is you know, above mid-age in football, you know. But he could be talented enough to do it. I mean, I've seen people do it, especially you go into the Canadian League, you know. So it's possible. You know, they may have a pay number over there for him. He may be able to go work out. You know, it may give him motivation to work out harder and be better. You know, sometimes people go through things in their life to make them a better person all the way around. This could be one of them for Travis. So, you know, but he definitely, you know, like I say, get out there and live his life. I don't know if, you know, they would want to employ him based on, you know, the scrutiny from the trial and all that, but physical wise, yeah, he may be able to get out there and go do something, but he is coming up on 30, which is, you know, pretty much an older age in football. He may want to you know, look into make sure he have his background. I'm sure he got a degree maybe. He may just want to pursue some other options as well though.
All right, man. We're going to have to wrap this up because I got to get to my son's graduation, man. Let the people know where they can tap in with you, FG.
Man, tap in with me on Instagram at FGeneral1. Tap in with me on YouTube at FG Unleash. I got to upload a couple new videos I made. I have those for you real soon.
All right, man. And StreetTV is the platform where we post video clips. And tap in with me. Follow my Twitter and Instagram page, Alex Alonso 101. And thanks for tapping in with another fire episode of Streets and Scholars. All right, man. I would want to address some of the comments and leave and chat with some of these people, but I'm actually running late.
Yeah, I know you got to get up out of here, bro. No doubt, man. You know.
Hey,
all right, you take it.
All right, and I want to thank everybody who tapped in the comments and checked out the show, man. Appreciate y'all. All right. Make sure I'm going to end the broadcast right